I'm probably a unique CPA. I didn't start out in public accounting. I started out at the Defense Department, auditing defense contractors. You heard about the $400 toilet seats? Well, that was us.
Is it true?
It depends on how you allocate overhead. But prior to that, I worked in the restaurant and hotel business for about 15 years, so it's near and dear to my heart. Also, not only am I a CPA, I wanted to ask, how many of you know what CPAs do?
Numbers. Taxes.
Taxes?
And then you go to the IRS for people and they help with the tax reduce and things like that?
Okay, so now we know what the consumers think a CPA is. CPAs are actually licensed to sign audits and give opinions on financial statements. We are not, by definition, tax people. So when you go look for a tax person, don't just look that they've been a CPA and they worked for 10 years at Arthur Anderson, well, let's choose PricewaterhouseCoopers, and they were in the auditing department. That means that they maybe had 2 classes of tax in their undergraduate degree so that they could pass the CPA exam. I went to San Jose State, I got a master's in taxation, which is an additional 10 classes, and I've taken several more in their program since, just because I don't know, glutton for punishment. I teach individual tax at UC Santa Cruz Extension every fall. So my specialty is tax. So when you're looking for someone that you need to have tax work done, ask them that kind of question. Because if they worked in IBM for 20 years and they decided I'm done with the big corporations, I'm going to hang up my shingle, they call it, and start my own business. What do they really know about taxation? And it might be different from a corporate person versus an individual person. So do your screening when it comes to that type of thing. I, in my office, do not do audits. And I do not do financial reviews. I do compilations, which is the lowest level of service that a CPA can sign off on. Our standards are very strict. So I feel I can't be an expert in everything. If I try to be an auditor and a tax person, it's just too many rules. Between Congress changing the rules and the Financial Accounting Standard Board changing the rules, and now they want to bring in international accounting standards, I can't be on top of everything. It's hard enough. I can't always be on top of all of the tax stuff all of the time. But I spend thousands of dollars on tax service that keeps me updated, and I get we're required to have 80 hours of continuing ed every 2 years. I get 100 every year at least. Again, I'm a glutton for punishment, but I want to know the rules. I want to know what's going on. I try to keep in contact with what's going on so that when I'm at a seminar and I hear this topic, oh, that relates to that client. So now I have something to call that client and say, you know something, I just learned something this week, and let's look at this for you. So not only, let's see, what else am I? I'm a certified management accountant, which means that is a designation that comes from the Institute of Management Accountants. And those are for accountants that work in businesses. There's accountants. The external accountants that do the audits are outside accountants. And then there's the accountants that work inside businesses. After I got done with the government, I went and worked as a controller for a construction company, and I was a controller of a hotel. So not only have I seen the government side, I've seen the side of working in the business, and then as Pascal, I'm a small business owner myself, so I need to manage my own affairs well in order to succeed too. So I have that, and then I decided to go into public accounting because that's really what I always wanted to do, but I just kind of took a backwards route. First week of February, I passed the final part of the enrolled agent exam. Now that is a specialization in tax. That comes and is issued by the Internal Revenue Service. So when I get my certificate, I'll be admitted to practice before the IRS. So generally, people get the enrolled agent exam before they get their CPA. So many of the people that I respect had enrolled agent designations that I thought, I want to do that just for myself, just because. Did I need it? No, probably not.
You can, with that, but you can't if you're just a CPA?
You can, but that's how enrolled agents are allowed to market themselves, that they are admitted to practicing for the IRS. It doesn't mean that you have any special touch with the IRS. I could do that as a CPA as well.
So Wesley, if we wanted to make a decision on whether or not we need an enrolled agent or a CPA or Liberty Tax down the street, how do we make the decision? What makes you unique that I want to work with you instead of just an enrolled agent? So what's that decision process a person should make?
Because I'm such a nice guy. First of all, the enrolled agent, again, like I told you, most of the people that I know that were enrolled agents were enrolled agents first, and then they became certified public accountants. However, looking at the work product and having just taken the exam, I was actually very disappointed in the exam for an enrolled agent. I thought it was way too easy. I didn't even study for the second part. I studied for the third part because it was, well, how many days do you have before you can go before tax court? Well, I don't keep that stuff in my brain, so I had to study that in detail to get that. But I was disappointed at the simplicity of it, and it focused, the enrolled agent exam focused very much on individuals. They said there was a business, but basically the business part went down to Schedule C's, which is sole proprietorships. Well, that doesn't help me with my C corporations and my S corporations and my LLCs and my partnerships and my estates to trusts. So the knowledge base that was needed to pass that wasn't even tested. I mean, one or two questions. Well, I kind of bluffed on that one, right? So I think for that, if you're doing individual tax, enrolled agent might be something that you could consider. What I've often seen when a return that an enrolled agent has done comes into my office because they've changed accountants is that they don't have the accounting background. They've taken a few classes to pass the enrolled agent exam, but not accounting classes. Well, when you're doing a corporate or a business return, you have to have a balance sheet. And I've seen balance sheets that didn't balance. And I didn't know why the IRS didn't bounce the return back. If I'd been the auditor or even looked at it, I would have bounced the return back. I said, well, why doesn't your balance sheet balance? I can't even. So one of the things we do in our office is we have a very strong quality control. Somebody might work on their QuickBooks, they'll give us the file, we screen the file, we make sure that it balances with the prior year, because if you're balanced, you report 2 years on your corporate or business tax return, so you've got to balance to the first year. So sometimes with a new client, there's a lot of cleanup work. And so we have to explain that up front. The cost the first year is going to be a little bit more if your books aren't in order.